One of my favorite things when it comes to filmmaking is cinematography. I think that if you have a good cinematographer, each picture that you see in a movie tells a story. John Wick 4 is levels for me, man. Like there's just levels. I feel like from a storyline perspective, you may be disappointed, but the picture, man, frame by frame, it's like a paint of art. What I saw, there's a scene that I remember watching when the concierge walks in and walks from is it the concierge or like his father, the Winston, like when he walks in and the camera sort of tracks his shot and he's walking in and it's this big room and it's this big track and it's tracking him to the French guy. And I'm watching that, I'm like, wow, like amazing. Or the first time we see John Wick in Tokyo and he's talking to the father or he's hiding there and you see the colors, like how they chose the green, the red, and how you just have that scene, how beautiful of a picture that John Wick 4 is. The cinematography for me is on a different level. And then you talk about the choreography, how the camera and the actors move and work together and the coloring, like those few pieces are what made the movie so special. And then you have that sequence when he's trying to get up the stairs and he's being kicked down the stairs. It turns into some form of comedy, but the idea that as an audience member, you're told through dialogue you have to go up 200 stairs, but you get to see that and then you get to feel his pain when he's trying to get up the stairs and he gets thrown down the stairs, and you get to see the irony in that situation. The way they shot this movie, for me, it's bananas. I haven't seen anything like it since Dune, and I give it that. The way the film is light, the way everything just works. From a storytelling perspective, if I was to see at it as a director and be like, oh, what did I enjoy about the story of John Wick 4? It's more of my understanding of it is he wants to leave the table. He wants to be a free man, and he's told from the beginning the only way you leave is either if you're dead or you're never free. And we see this being done to the blind man, the same thing of like, you want your freedom, but in order for you to be free, you are never totally free. You belong to the table because you're part of it for some reason. And we understand his dilemma. For me, this is the first time where it's not about his dog, right? And you get to see the story unfold, and it's the way they foreshadow how it will end from the beginning, which marks the end of the John Wick series, is a beautiful thing. The way that is just shot and the way that is delivered. I think one of the key things in this movie that they achieved was when I was watching it, I almost tweeted out, "Hey, does anyone have access to the script of John Wick?" Because it just feels like few words. It feels like it's 30% dialogue and 70% action. Like there's no talk. It's just shoot, kill, and fight. And then their key weapons is guns, and with guns, there isn't much that happens because you shoot someone and then they're dead. And then you compare that to if there's a lot of dialogue, if there's a lot of exposition, and we have an understanding of why the characters are doing what they're doing. It's something that we don't get with John Wick. It's just action to a point that sometimes the action just doesn't make sense. Like people are shooting at each other, and then I get it. They explain that the guns are the suits are bulletproof, but you're like, come on, man, how you gonna get like 5-10 bullets shot at your suit and none of them pierce your body or none of them hit your head? Like, make it a little bit realistic. But it's a movie, so it doesn't necessarily have to be. That's one thing for me that was a little bit disappointing, and just the fact that they really didn't care much about the story. Like, what's the story? We know what John Wick wants. We know his goal is established in the first act, whereby his desire is to be a free man, is to be let go from being under the table. And then you have the antagonist whose desire is to kill John Wick, whose desire is to move this because he now has this power. And then you have that conflict. In order for either of them to get what they want, the other has to die. And you go through this arc, but the main issue and the main challenge that I have is there is no why though. Like, why do they want what they want? And then you have these other characters. So the story, whilst it moves forward and we have an understanding of what they're trying to achieve, it's like, why? Why is that guy with the dog? Okay, fine, he's a bounty hunter, but why is he saving John when he could have killed him, you know? And then when his hand is broken, like what you start to get is it's for me, it starts to feel like John Wick is like someone who has a fascination with the story that they want to tell, and they don't really care about the implications of the story. Like, okay, let's say at the part whereby that guy stabs this guy's hand, and he's like, you have two choices to make. The one who pulls the knife is not dedicated to the cause, and then the one who, you know, moves his hand is dedicated to the cause. For what reason does he have to prove? You know, it's like, man, I ain't, you know, the way he cuts through his hand, like, you're like, why are we doing this? But I'm pretty sure there's something whereby somebody, when they were writing it, they're like, damn, this would be pretty nasty and cool to do. And then you're like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we actually here to do this? And that's how I think some of those shots were made. But other thing that I feel is fascinating is how you have the blind guy like being that thing that forces and moves the movie forward, where you're like, oh, how is a blind man able to do all these crazy things? It's not really realistic in my opinion. I mean, if you have a blind assassin, how does he know where A and B is? You know, you have a lot of plot holes. Like, how does he know? Okay, fine, maybe he used to see and he knows how John and he has a friend in Tokyo, and then how does he know where to be? How does he know? You know, like, there's a lot of how, you know, but it doesn't matter. It's a movie. If you enjoyed John Wick, let me know in the comment section which part was your favorite. I really think for me, the cinematography of the movie is essentially what makes it something worth watching in 2023.